And today, so we're going to be talking to a couple of superstars. You're going to love what we're talking about today, and that is how to break into the luxury market. We're going to be talking about, number one, how to break in. We're going to talk about how showings are different when you do with the luxury market, the mindset of the clientele of a luxury agent. We're going to be talking about that too. It's going to be great. And we've got two superstars here for you today. John Herhold is going to make our host and the others into co-hosts, so they pop up at the top there on the participant box. And we're going to get started here in just 30 seconds. I want to welcome everybody for jumping on. Congratulations, you're a realtor. You showed up on time. That is job number one. Well done. We're excited for you all to be here, and we're going to get going. So the luxury market, everybody wants to get in, right? Everybody wants to be a part of that. Everybody wants to sell the higher price listings. And how do you do it? How do you get into it? Well, you're going to have it today. You're going to get a pen, paper, and take some notes. And go ahead if you guys want to fill up that chat box with your questions as they pop up, or you can pop your hand up and we can ask you questions as we go. There's a little button down below where you can pop that up. But we're going to get started here today. Stephanie, we're going to start with you. We're going to start with Elizabeth.
We're going to start with Elizabeth. She's our special guest.
We got a special guest out of Texas here. And Elizabeth Riley is a legend in the real estate industry. She's also a super mom, amazing wife, incredible entrepreneur. She'll tell you how long she's been doing real estate, but she started when she was like 8 or 9 years old. So you're going to love that. Elizabeth, take it away. You're coming to us through technology from your car. I hear you're traveling. Is that right?
I know, I'm sorry. Yeah, flights got changed, so I'm about to head to the airport. So coming to you from my car. Thank you for your grace. Hi. So you want me to just do an intro on me?
So tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, for people that don't know who you are, and then let's get right into the meat of it with luxury. How do you break into the luxury market?
Very cool. Well, first of all, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me. It's always such an honor to get to visit with our amazing colleagues around the globe. I'm Elizabeth Riley out of Austin, Texas. I've been licensed 18 years. I got licensed in Atlanta, Georgia initially because I had to. My CPA told me I had to. My husband and I were investors, and I don't know about you guys, but if somebody tells you you have to do something, you don't usually go thrillingly. But I went kicking and screaming into real estate, and I went to Keller Williams because that was the only one at the time that would let me be part-time. So got into real estate in Atlanta, Georgia, and realized, oh my gosh, I do love this. I'm working with my friends. I'm working with people that know me. And I realized it was just, real estate was whatever I wanted it to be. It wasn't what I thought you had to check a box and what you had to do and knock on doors and cold call and things like that. So that was pretty eye-opening for me. I didn't have children at the time. I had my first son my first year in real estate. So he's grown up with me in the business. I have 4 children now. And he's 17. He's about to graduate, and that's a whole nother conversation. But in 2008, we were transferred to Austin, Texas. And if any of y'all were in the business in 2008, you know that it wasn't the best time for some in real estate. And what I can tell you about that is I saw that as opportunity, because everybody that would tell me that the market was horrible and what are you doing? And this is a horrible market. Why are you getting in the business? It's all perspective. Because I just came from a horrible market. I came from Atlanta, Georgia. And Atlanta, we were dealing with foreclosures and short sales, and that market really had burst. Austin was a better market. So it just was how you compare things and how you look at life. And I think in anything I do, I always look at the opportunity. If everybody else is going one direction, it's like, well, why are they going that direction? What about this other opportunity, this direction? So 2008, started my business not knowing anybody in Texas, had 1 child, had to meet people for him. And started knocking on doors in my neighborhood, not to get the business, but to earn the relationships. And that's who I am. I had to know my neighbors. I didn't know anybody. So I knocked on the door, and it wasn't about real estate or anything about me. It was, hi, Ann, I'm Elizabeth. This is my son, Tripp. We just moved in down the street. We just wanted to get to know our neighbors. And you start a conversation there, and they want to know why you moved here, what you do. And you just start building that relationship. And in anything I do, if you build that relationship, you're going to earn the business. Right. So that's how I built my business. 2014, we had 650 agents in my market center, and I was number 1. And came home that day after winning my little glass trophy and my 10th baseball cap that said capper. I came home and I told my husband I was getting out of the business. And he was like, are you crazy? Like, you just won number 1. I said, yep. We talk about God, family, business, and it was all business. And my 4 kids, you know, that was secondary. My husband traveled all the time. And I said, I'm on a hamster wheel. This is not what we need for our family. And so, long story short, instead of going, you know, and starting my own brokerage or going to another company, my Atlanta crew had all introduced me to this little tiny company called eXp Realty. At the time, Glenn Sanford came into Austin to meet with me, and he had 400 agents in the company. And my market center had more than his did. But again, it was about opportunity. People join people. I loved what he had to say about focusing on the agents and being agent obsessed and allowing you to get back into the basics and get back to the passion, because I lost my passion for real estate. And so in May of 2015, I joined eXp Agent 466. And what I did, because I saw it as opportunity. Well, you know, everybody else said we're crazy. They're saying we're the Amazon.com of real estate. Well, what if, right? What if that works? That would be amazing. That's opportunity. What if it doesn't work? Well, I can go to any other brokerage and company because they need me as a producer. So for me, the risk was not making the move. The risk was staying where I was, because I was stagnant and I was comfortable and I was uninspired. And so that was the risk for me. So joined eXp, and that's when I decided to jump into luxury, because I'd always wanted to break into luxury and I didn't really know how to do it. And now all of a sudden I was surrounded by people doing business differently than me in different markets and truly opening up their playbooks and letting me have a glimpse of what it looked like, what luxury meant to me. And because nobody knew who eXp was, I branded myself Lux Property Group, right? And so that was kind of my step into that. And we can talk about the pros and cons of that as well. But that's kind of that's my story in a nutshell. I've been at eXp a little over 8 years now, 8.5 years. I'm first icon ever named. I'm the only one with 8. I should have 9 icons by EXPCon. And yeah, I'm very much in production. I love what I do. I love this company, and I love these conversations.
So if we have some agents on here that are newer, and maybe they have some lies they're telling themselves, Elizabeth, like, you know, I haven't been in it long enough to do luxury, or I don't know enough luxury clients, or things like that. What type of advice would you give them? Let's say they have less than 5 years experience in real estate. What would you tell them that they need to do? Where do they find luxury clients? How do they get the business?
Luxury is a state of mind to me. It's not a price point. And I think that's where people get stuck, right? I mean, Austin, Texas, my price points are going to be a whole lot different than where Stephanie is. But it's a lifestyle and it's a state of mind. I have clients that might have a $300,000 house, but that might be one of the nicer homes, or they have a home and they're using the nice purses and they're driving the nice cars, and to them it's an experience. So I don't care what price point you are. I treat each one of my clients like they're a luxury client. I'm going to go above and beyond. I'm going to treat them like they're my one and only. It's not a price point, and I think that's where people get hung up. Like if somebody said to me, well, what's your price point for luxury? Well, that could be anything. It depends on neighborhood. So I think that term is overused and it's not really evaluated like it should be. If you're a brand new agent, you could, my first transaction as a brand new agent in Atlanta, Georgia, was one of my friends I went to college with, and it was like $150,000 condo. My second transaction was a $650,000 house. Like, to me, that was luxury. I mean, I jumped that price point, but I still treated them the same. I think it's a state of mind. It's how you treat people. It's the experience. I treat each of them like a luxury client, no matter what that is. And my business is 100% referral. You gotta keep that in mind. So when I was a brand new agent, I didn't care what the price point was, and a luxury price point could drop into your lap, and you just need to know who to work with, or who can support you, or where to get the information. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know the people that are there to support you and help you win in you know, marketing them or helping them find the next home, or whatever the price point is. So the first thing I want to say is to stop thinking like it's a price point. It's not.
I love the fact that you say that. For those of you who are coming on late, we're speaking with Elizabeth Riley here, superstar agent out of Austin, Texas. And for those of you out there who have some questions, you can either put them in the chat box and I can read them for you, or you can pop your hand up and we can call on you. Questions specific that you have to Elizabeth Riley, that because I know everybody who's on here is looking to get into the luxury market. I love what you said, Elizabeth. Luxury is a state of mind. That's great. What about the mindset of a luxury client? What's different from them that they're thinking than maybe you would see from just somebody who's not considered a luxury client, right? So it's a state of mind. What do you see in the clientele?
If you start talking price points, okay, if we're truly talking luxury price points, first of all, never assume anything. Some of my biggest luxury price point clients are in t-shirts or flip-flops or athletic wear. Literally, I was just leaving before this call, I just left, I have a $10 million listing, right? And this is not what you would think of for a $10 million listing. And everybody that was showing up was in t-shirts and shorts. You would have thought that they had just run off the track or something. So a lot of them, don't ever assume anything, okay? And I've made the wrong assumptions in the past because I'm like, I don't know if they can afford this, and they could blow you out of the water. So don't assume anything. But what I find with a lot of my luxury clients is they didn't get there just accidentally. They're usually pretty smart business people, and they usually make decisions pretty quickly, and they're usually high Ds in my situation, right? So you have to understand how to communicate with, first of all, the disc profile is critical. You have to be able to communicate with all these different personality profiles, right? If you look at my profile, I'm a high S, very high S, but my adaptive is a SD. So I can turn on the D when I need it to be a D. I can turn on the I when I need it to be an I. But understanding who you're talking to is going to be critical. And most of them are high Ds. They've gotten somewhere in business or whatever by a lot of hard work, by making decisions, and they don't want a lot of fluff. All right. All of my listings, I send a pre-listing packet, and I don't really care what's in the pre-listing packet as far as their answers, because by the way they answered, I can tell you who they are. Like my Ds haven't even opened it. Right. My eyes have filled out everything and colored all over. Like, you see what I mean? It doesn't matter about the content or how they answer the questions. That's not what I'm going for. I'm trying to figure out, if I don't know who they are, who I'm sitting across pretty quickly. So you just have to be very organized. Know your numbers. I'm negotiating my $3 million one right now, where I told him he was 300,000 too high before we listed it. But I don't want to be combative with them either. So there's ways you can work with your clients so they know that you're partnering with them, that you're not know it all, because a lot of them they know it all, right? So on this one, I said, you know what, you may be right. I could be wrong. This is the numbers I'm looking at, but we could find the perfect buyer because this home is so unique and so amazing. Let's test it out. But let's put it in our listing agreement that if we don't have an offer within 2 weeks. So I write things in our listing agreement to protect me, because I spend a lot of money on listings. So always make sure you're protecting yourself, because don't just take a listing to list it. You're going to spend a lot of money and effort and energy, and you're going to prepare it for the second agent to sell that listing if you don't do it right. But we finally got an offer in, and I presented all the numbers, presented all the facts. And he's like, you called it when we first stood in my kitchen. You told me where it was going to sell, and these are the numbers that we're supporting it. So I'm just very direct, which is not my personality. You just have to be very organized. And like I said, this is not always, but for most of my high level ones, like 2 million and above, that's what I see.
I love Susan Sue says here from Dublin, Ohio, says she loves it, Elizabeth. Luxury is a state of mind. She loved your comment on that. So I think a lot of people like that. For those of us out there, when you're talking DISC, and that's like Chinese to them, they don't understand what that means. Where could they go and learn about that? Because there isn't a webinar on it's not a mastermind on DISC, but where could they find information on that? What would be a good one? Well,
there's free ones online. I think Tony Robbins does a free one. It's very, very, very high level. Dr. Abelson is who I work with, and I have all of my agents in my organization, and I've gone through some of his trainings and things. Those are very, very in-depth. It's not just your personality profiles, but it's motivators, which is always good. It's your behaviors. It is just leadership, but those are around $200 a piece. So not everybody's going to want to go that route, but I know there's some free ones online. It's just DISC personality, but I think Tony Robbins still has a free one out there. Beautiful. I love it. Jacob Beldon here from Boston, or Boston, as he would probably say. He says he's a certified disc consultant, and he sells the profiles. Jacob, why don't you throw your contact information in there if people want to connect with you. Alex from Indianapolis says he's done the Dr. Abelson test and is incredibly accurate. So great stuff on that, Elizabeth. I'm going to put you to the fire, feet to the fire here on this. You said you spend money on your listings.
Ballpark dollar amount. What are you spending on a luxury listing?
Okay, so that
We didn't
depends.
script these questions. If anybody's wondering, by the way, we didn't script any of these questions. I'm just firing these out. Field it, Elizabeth.
That's good. Don't script questions. I don't do well with script questions because then I'm just trying to think of how I'm supposed to answer it instead of sorry, I just kind of tell you I'm an open book. All right, first of all, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you guys are new agents, and I teach on this stuff all the time, okay, I'm 100% referral. Don't spend money until you're making money. Okay, don't spend money there's so many ways you can market and get your name out there without spending a whole bunch of money, and I teach on this all the time, and it's super fun. I did almost 40 million last year by myself, 100% referral, by not spending a whole bunch of money. So it's definitely possible to do. Now, when it comes to listings though, and you're presenting your properties, I mean, any property price point, you have to have a professional photographer. Like those of y'all that are just using iPhone photos, I don't care if it's $100,000, don't do that. I mean, it's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of your client. It's a reflection of our industry, quite frankly. Professional photos don't have to be that expensive, but for all of ours, it's just given that we do professional photos. I do the 3D Matterports. I do the floor plan sketches. I do drone photography. I do video. I don't like video personally. I don't like to be in video, so I'm not usually in it, but we're doing videos of the homes. Sometimes we'll do video, I'll make myself do it if I need to, but I don't know what that ballpark is. And again, Jim, I don't want to say a number because all the markets are so different. I would just say explore and then utilize the people in your market, utilize the people in your EXP world too, and just say, hey guys, like in Austin Metro Group, I could send a note out there. Who are some of the photographers you guys are using? And you'll get a whole bunch of different price ranges. But I think at a minimum, you have to have professional photography. I have a graphic designer, but I have templates that make everything consistent because consistency is key as well. So you might spend a little bit of money up front to build out a marketing template, but you can utilize those over and over and over. So it's just about consistency and making things really, really clean and simple. I'm also a part of the luxury division, which if you can be a part of the EXP luxury division, y'all, it is awesome. It has given me so much value. In fact, usually they just have clients have me just come list their home because they know, again, when you're referral based, sometimes you're not having to go up against other agents. Sometimes you do, but I've been going up against a bunch of Compass agents lately, and I'm beating them out every single time because of our luxury division, because of the opportunities that they're presenting with us getting in the Wall Street Journal and Rob Report and all these other things that these other companies can't compete with. So if you are at a price point where my market is $1 million and above, if you're at a price point where the EXP luxury division makes sense, I would definitely explore it.
Beautiful. I love that. And you're doing full drone photography, or in Texas, do people shoot those things out of the sky down there in Texas? They're like, this is my airspace. I'm just taking
they might. No. Well, that's the other thing. We have to get clearance. I mean, for all the drones. So, it's not just like somebody going up, like my 16 or 17-year-old going up and shooting a drone. I mean, you just need to get professionals involved, and it just makes it more streamlined, and your clients see how just professional you are, and you're handling all the details and not having to, second guess things and ask them questions and pull them in. We need to do our job so that they can do theirs.
Beautiful. I love that. And so Oscar Millara says he's got the link for Tony Robbins on here. So if you guys, you're going to be able to download the chat, by the way, at the end. There's 3 little dots at the bottom of the chat. You can download the chat, everything that's putting in there. Jacob put his contact information. James Peak says Jim Peak focuses behavioral health businesses and properties, buy and sell drug rehabs, addiction treatment centers across USA, big, small, and distressed assets. Oh, good. That's Jim. There's your contact information. Sorry about that. I was reading that. Good job, Jim. We appreciate that on there.
Hey, Jim, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, Austin, go ahead. I saw you.
Hey,
go ahead. Hit Elizabeth.
Sure thing.
Riley
hey, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Elizabeth, nice to meet you, first of all. Are you finding the use of publications to be a thing? Are you doing any marketing in magazines or specifically in certain neighborhoods that are geared toward higher price points?
I'm not. I know a number of people that do. I don't know what that ROI is on that. Again, my marketing dollars are spent a little bit different. I market. I don't really send real estate related things. Again, I'm trying to build the relationship and set myself apart from. I don't send just listed, just sold, things like that. My marketing content for the actual properties is very, very different. But I don't advertise in any of the publications. I have in the past. I never saw really much return. So I'd rather put an ad in the school, booster club things instead. I get a lot more traction that way. So I
Do
think
you
what I would
find
say
that?
is whatever you're involved in, like it doesn't have to be real estate. Like if you're involved, if you're an animal lover and you're involved in the rescue center there, like figure out ways to promote and support those organizations, because you're going to attract like-minded people that want to work with you because you guys have similar things in common. Make sense? Your vibe attracts your tribe. So that's where I spend more of my money and my effort and my time.
That's great. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Love it. And so, Elizabeth, some ideas that we're just kind of brainstorming here are places for people to find luxury clients, right? Maybe they're a newer agent who's gotten in, or they're just somebody who's looking to break in. Maybe they don't live in a luxury neighborhood already, and they're trying to break into it. Where's a great place to find luxury clients and build those relationships? Because I heard you talking about, you started conversations with people, old school conversations, right? Yeah. Nowadays, we're very connected on social media, but there's not a lot of connection. How do you build that connection with people, and where do you find them?
So the funny thing about me is I'm a much bigger introvert than people think. I can make myself go and talk to people and I will be fine in any setting. But I don't call people. I don't knock on doors. I don't, actively go out there. I'm very passive in my marketing. But here's what I would say. The environments I'm putting myself in is, I'm a mom of 4. And I have there's mom guilt is real. Okay. So I have this mom guilt that if I'm trying to build my business, but then I have all of my kids, like it's either or. Instead, it's not either or. I got super involved in all their PTAs. I got super involved in the room moms. I got super involved in the school events, right? So that people would always see me and they wouldn't say, oh my gosh, there's Tripp's mom run. She's going to talk about real estate, but they all knew passively what I was doing because I was supporting all of that financially. I'm one of the biggest supporters in the booster clubs. That's where a lot of the families are too, because they're move up families. The teachers, and I love on the teachers and I love on the staff because those are the people that are connected with the teachers, right? You could do things really easy like Girl Scout cookies. Every February they have cookies that are called Thanks-a-Lots. And I go to the Girl Scout troops and I buy a case of cookies I buy like 350 boxes of cookies that are all Thanks-a-Lots. And I just put a sticker on there saying, thanks a lot for all you do for our community and our kids. XOXO, Elizabeth and the Lux Property Group. And we put them all in their boxes. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just loving on people. But I do stuff like that consistently. So then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh. So that's where a lot of my luxury clients have come from, or from the schools. Again, don't ever assume. You never know what people, are doing. You don't have to live in those exact neighborhoods. Another one is country clubs. And it doesn't have to be the fancy country clubs. Golf memberships. I'm a member of a club, not because that's who I am, but I meet people that way. Right. My estate attorneys, find an estate attorney, partner up with a divorce attorney. I hate to say that, but think about your attorney relationships that you have. I used to be a marketing director for a law firm a long time ago, and they were like, hey, we have estates that come up. Are you interested? And I used to have to go interview for them, but now over the years, they're like, no, Elizabeth's our go-to. There's some amazing properties that come up out of estates where the family lives out of Texas, and they don't want to have to do anything. Right. So I've got 5 estates right now, and they're all 500 to 1.5 million that were just handed to me just because I knew an attorney. So think of divorce attorneys, think of, and divorce attorneys are interesting too, because the husband can't pick and the wife can't pick. So you have to have somebody in the middle, and you want to be that go-to person. CPAs, lenders, all those people we all know, but think of the relationships you have. There's all sorts of environments that you can be a part of. I'm really involved in the nonprofit space as well. There's big donors. I sit on boards. I sit on advisory boards. They see what I'm doing. They see I'm serving the community. I live here. I work here. I get a ton of my clients from there as well.
I love that. Live here, work here, and it's service based. It sounds like what I'm hearing from you is you're depositing into the relationship bank account before you ask, and that's why you're coming away 100% referral. So we're speaking with Elizabeth Riley out of Austin, Texas. She's getting her car, but she's getting ready to fly out. Does anybody have a question with her before we let her go? If you have a question, Austin had a great question for her. Anybody else got a question you wanted to throw Elizabeth Riley's way? No question is dumb. If you're thinking it, somebody else out there is thinking it too. So go ahead and unmute and let it rip. Eliziti, go ahead, and then we'll go to Oscar next.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing your information. I'm trying to, I'm burned out with the what I'm doing, and I'm trying to go to luxury. And how I know, did you take, I just came, a few minutes after you started, did you take any courses, and then how, anything that you need to know to be in luxury? We just think, you know what I mean? Just, you don't want to feel stupid to ask you a question you don't know.
Yeah, well, here's the first thing. If you have a luxury client, no question is stupid when you can ask all of us and we can all help, right? And what I tell a lot of the agents that are trying to break into there is like, you don't have to do it by yourself. Co-list with somebody, or I'll co-list with people, or I'll have them shadow me, right? So ask people if you can shadow them in your markets as well, because they don't need to know that you're shadowing them. They can say, well, I'm just going to take notes, or I'm going to be an assistant, or whatever it is, or I'm another agent and we're just working on this together. It doesn't matter how you present it. I didn't take any classes or training. Here's what I'll tell you I did, though. When I first joined EXP, again, there were only 400 agents. There was a luxury class going on, and I like to teach and I like to share, and I only knew as much as I knew from my market, right? I thought I did pretty well here. And so I go into this luxury class, and it's two of the guys from Hollywood Hills and Beverly Hills teaching luxury. And I was like, oh, all right, let me sit my little avatar down and take a whole bunch of notes. And it was, if you guys know Chuck Keller and Doug Rago, that's who it was. And those are two to this day are two of my dearest friends because of that class. And here's the interesting thing. They opened their playbook. And why would they do that? Well, number one, we're not competition. They're California, I'm Texas, right? Number two, most people don't do what you tell them to do anyway. And number three, if I win in Texas, they win because we're all EXP. We all win as a company, right? And so I learned so much from them. I'm not going to do exactly what they do, but it gave me a whole bunch of ideas. And I took those ideas and I was like, okay, how can I implement that into my market? And then as I started building my business that way, I have the CHLMS. Most people don't know what that is. The people outside of our industry have no idea what the Certified Home Luxury Marketing Specialist certification thing is. I don't have any, quite frankly, I have no value out of it. I've never gotten any value out of that. Institute of Luxury Marketing, I get more value out of our own luxury. So don't fall into the trap where people say, oh, you have to do this in order to be able to do these things. That's not true. But like I said, our luxury division is awesome, and they're doing trainings and classes in there. I would jump into any of that, and then jump into any of the ones around the country, because you're going to learn things about luxury markets in ways that they're not necessarily doing where you live.
I love that answer, Elizabeth, and the co-list for agents that are newer. If you have to split the commission on a $2 million listing, it's better than getting 1.5% yourself. Would be better than getting zero on none, not having any. So it's a bigger number on that. That's great advice for people on that. And I love the advice also on the alphabet soup that goes behind her name. The only people that knows what that is other realtors, right? No one else knows what those
nobody
are.
cares.
Yeah.
Well, and the co-listing thing is great too, because the way we position it is, oh my gosh, you know what? Instead of having one agent, you have two of us. We're here to serve you, right? And so then they're like, oh, this is awesome. I'm getting more value. You don't have to say, oh, this is Stephanie. She's new. She's learning. Like, you don't have to say any of that. It's how you position it. So anytime I have another agent on a transaction with me, it's like, oh, wait, you have two of us for one.
That's great. Two realtors for the price of one. I love it. That's awesome. Carlos, I think you had a question. You waited patiently. You still have that question? If not, we're going to let Elizabeth get out of here. You can go ahead and unmute. Go ahead, Oscar. I'm sorry, it's Oscar, not Carlos. Oscar.
Hey, no problem. Hey, Elizabeth, thank you very much for help today, being here today. But you already answered my question. That was going to be my question. Being myself a high C, analysis paralysis gets on my way. But
oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask if getting the certification with luxury is kind of the requirements, but you did a great job answering me before. So thank you.
Well, and the luxury, yeah, the luxury requires you to get certain things, but I mean, that's not going to necessarily generate more business. And here's the reality. I never went to all the luxury events because you're not going to get business from them. Now, in our ecosystem, we all do a lot of referrals left, here, there, and everywhere. So I think that's a good thing when we're at our different events, but don't go hang out where other real estate agents are hanging out. Right. When people are talking to me, they're like, well, I love my office. I'm in my office with all these other agents. I'm like, yeah, the agents that are sitting around the office aren't out doing business and getting business, and you're not going to get business from them. Go sit in a coffee shop instead, right? Go give $50 to the barista and say, look, the first people that come through here, let them know I'm buying them coffee, and have a note. One of my agents did this. He had a sign on the back of his computer that said, ask me about real estate. So he just worked in there And then people would come over and be like, oh my gosh, thank you for the coffee. He's like, absolutely. And he'd pick up clients because of that, right? You're not going to get, because I told him that you're not going to get clients being around a bunch of agents. So be creative. I mean, he was already working. He wasn't losing time doing that. And there's opportunities there as well. Open houses are another thing. I've never done an open house in my life. Okay. Again, I'm an introvert. I don't want to go talk to people, but there are a lot of people that do very, very, very well in open houses. So I don't hold my own open houses anyway, because I think it's a conflict of interest. I'm representing the seller. I don't want to represent the buyer. I don't want to get in a situation. And quite frankly, when a buyer or potential buyer walks in, they think you're the enemy. They're not going to say anything because they're like, oh, you represent the seller. You're going to say everything, no, I don't like the house, because they don't want you to know they like the house. So I have agents that come in there and they let them know, I don't represent the seller. How can I help you? And all of our luxury listings are held open. And so we have our agents holding them open all the time, no matter what. So there's a lot of people that you can pick up, a lot of people that way too. And they don't need to know if you're new or not. Again, you've got everybody, you've got an army of people and experience behind you. Leverage us and use us to help you grow.
I love it. Great stuff. Round of applause, everybody, for Elizabeth Riley from Austin, Texas. She's heading out for the airport. Thank you for taking your time out to meet with us today. I got 2.5 pages of notes here on this, so a lot of great stuff on it, and I hope everybody got some on there. For those of you who said, wow, from Austin, Texas, she talks fast when she says y'all and stuff like that, just so you know this is being recorded, and you can go back and take notes on the things that she said on there. So thank you so much, Elizabeth. Safe flight to you wherever you're traveling to, and good luck on all of your listings and things out there. And we'll see you in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks.
I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you guys soon. Yeah, if any of y'all are, I'm going to Tampa to go speak at an event down there for EXP. So if any of y'all are down there, come see me. But thanks for having me, guys. Anytime. And I've got time, so I don't want you to feel like you have to kick me off, but I'll just hang out with you just for a little bit.
Great, awesome. Well, we're gonna go to Stephanie Gilezan next. Stephanie is we got all the power women on today, right? We've got them all in the gallery in here, and also speaking today. Stephanie Gilezan is absolute champion also in real estate, just like Elizabeth Riley, super mom, right? Super entrepreneur, everything like that. She started a real estate business in the 1900s. Like Stacy and I did. She was 9 years old when she started hers also. So Stephanie, you're out of Louisville, Kentucky, but if you say it like that, people down there make fun of you. So you have to say it Louisville. I think I got that one right. Stephanie, tell everybody a little bit about your background who may not know you already, and what you do with the luxury sales.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks everybody and thank you, Elizabeth, for coming in today and doing that, because you are awesome. You're one of my favorites. And I love that you pour into all of us every single day of the week. That's for certain. But yes, Jim's right. I started in real estate in 1999. I was 21, to be quite honest. I'll be 46 next week. So I'm getting ready to turn 25 years in this.
You're just a baby still.
I'm
just a baby.
But no, I feel old. 25 years in real estate, you got to think about that. That seems like forever, right? No, for most of you, I'm a lot of commercial real estate. But the one thing I will love to do in the residential side is the luxury. And I think that's because I've always resonated to the business acumen, right? I like a business transaction. And I've always found that on the luxury side of things, it's a little bit more of a business plan. Everyone has, the reason why they're moving. And for those of you that don't know, I'm also a home builder and a developer, and everything that I build or develop is luxury. And what I mean by that is we're going to go back into for just a second. It's price point. I tend to build multi-million-dollar homes, and it's a certain caliber of people that can afford that. It's a certain pay grade, and that's what you'll find me do on the residential side. So I love how Elizabeth stated it's all about mindset, because it is mindset. What I focus on the luxury side of things is that mindset, but it's also a lifestyle. I'm looking for the lifestyle person, right? And so she started it again in saying building relationships. It's not about me selling a property. I'm going to sell somebody a lifestyle. And the only way to know what that lifestyle is and their goal is to understand who they are and get to learn them. And then you can incorporate all that. But I'll pause there, Jim, and let you get rolling.
No, you're good to go. Keep rolling.
Awesome.
You're on fire. Keep rocking and rolling on here. All I typed in there was, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type it in the box. If you don't want to unmute, if you want to unmute and ask it yourself, you're welcome to go for it. So keep it in, Stephanie. Stephanie, when you got started, you were brand new in it. Where did you find your leads when you got started? Because that's the key for everyone, I think, right? Is where do you find the business?
Well, and I think, for me, back way back in 1999.
Was there even internet back in 1999? It didn't even exist, did it?
It was AOL dial-up. My first email address was sgilezan@aol.com. And when you logged onto it, it went, that kind of thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
What I did is I was never the person that wanted one-off listings. I really was not after, I got to go get a listing. My mindset is I got to go get a bunch of business. And how am I going to get a bunch of business? And so as I was stumbling around Louisville, trying to figure out, okay, who doesn't have a real estate agent? There was so much growth happening. And I realized I kept seeing builder sign after builder sign after builder sign. And what I really loved to do was the whole development aspect. And still to this day, I represent a lot of developers. I'm one myself, but I still represent quite a few of them. And what I wanted to do was land a builder developer in the high price point, right? Because we all know effort is effort. It's the same effort on $100,000 deal as it was on $1 million deal. And if I could go out and get these listings, then the buyers would come to me. That was my mindset, right? And so one of the first clients on the residential side that I landed was a builder who had 34 spec homes. And in 1999, these price points range from $279,900 all the way up to $2.6 million. What could I do? Guys, I was 21 years old, single mom. I had no money. I mean, let's be honest. The money I had was so that I could buy his diapers and formula, okay? So I had to be very cognizant of, okay, how am I going to do this? What he was looking for was somebody that wanted to treat it as a business, okay? Somebody who really wanted to be available. And so if I could prove to him that, one, I'm going to get his properties in front of people, get them sold quicker, then this is how I'm going to land his business. For him, it was all about, well, if I list with you, I'm not paying you full commission. I'm not paying a 6% commission. And of course, so I'm sitting there going, okay, he only wants to pay 5% commission. I need to be charging 6%. What can I get out of him? Well, here's what I didn't have at the time. I didn't have the money. And so how am I going to market all these properties, right? Because like Elizabeth said, you've got to be able to put these properties where they need to be. You need professional photographers. There was no any of the photography flyovers or any of that back then, but you still needed professional photos. And we didn't have the internet. We didn't even have Realtor.com or Zillow back then, right? And so what I had to spend money on was putting them in the freaking newspaper, guys, in the newspaper. We had to put them in Business First magazines. We had to put them in any of these print, and print back then was extremely expensive. So I said to Carl, the builder that I landed, I said, you know what? I tell you what, I'll take the commission percentage cut, but you will pay for all of my marketing. He goes, 100% deal. And so overnight, Stephanie Gilezan was in every magazine where every luxury person that could afford something was looking. And that's how I started to do that. So it's a lot easier this day and age, Jim, because it doesn't require so much money to be able to market these properties. But back then, it was on average $7,500 per month to get these listings out where they needed to be, where people could discover them, where buyers, could be looking at them. And so that was an expensive venture back then. But the mindset of a luxury buyer, because you got to think too, Elizabeth's right. Austin is a different price point than Louisville, Kentucky. Los Angeles is drastically a different price point, right? We were just at a big event at my house last week, and we had a couple from Los Angeles, and he said, Stephanie, homes like this are selling for $40 million in Los Angeles. And, we're selling 2-bedroom, 800 square foot homes in the ghetto for 1.2 million. And I'm thinking, holy moly, so luxury is mindset. And what are luxury clientele looking for in a luxury agent? What do rich people have, you all? A guy for everything, right? I was just on a call with Jacob Belt this morning. I know you got a guy. I know you got a financial planner. I know you got a CPA. I know you got this. And so your goal is to become that guy or gal for those people. And what makes them call their financial planner their guy or their gal, right? Trust. Trust that they have their best interests at heart. And so that's part of diving in to that. It's an entire mindset on how you treat the clientele. Okay. People want to know that you can get things done. I was in a situation last week where another agent, different brokerage, not my deal, but the sellers of that property want to buy a $2.5 million house that I happen to own. And their agent is literally screwing up the deal by not scheduling things. For example, their house was built in 1991, and the buyer of it wanted a set of the house plans, the architecture drawings of the house, right? $3.5 million home, Louisville, Kentucky. You should have the architecture drawings. And the agent's like, oh, they don't have them, sorry. So they ran that by me and they said, well, I think the deal's going to fall apart because we don't have the architecture drawings for our house. I said, guys, you live in the city of Anchorage. They're on file when the building permit got pulled. Pick up the phone, have your agent call the city of Anchorage and go pick up the house plans. They were like, what? Oh my God. But that's the mindset. It's going the step further. It's always finding the solution. Any of you that have heard me speak on any topic in real estate, I don't care if it's luxury, commercial, first-time home buyers, short sales, whatever the case might be, what is always the common denominator? Being the problem solver, going above and beyond. People want to work with people who get shit done and don't take no for an answer. But that's the truth of it. That agent last week totally killed it when she said, I don't know, I guess the deal's off. I can't find the architecture drawings. And then Stephanie Gilezan comes in and saves the day. What did I prove? I proved I can get shit done. Number two, what did I get when they get back from their trip? I'm getting the listing because they're done with that agent. She couldn't even get the first deal done. So why would they go back for a second trip down the road with her, right? So it's thinking about the ways of being, you got to think outside the box. You have got to do a creative problem solving. There's always a way to the right solution, but it's being that person that goes above and beyond to try to get to that solution. You know, that's the hardest thing right there is for most agents when they want to break into something, luxury, commercial, whatever the case might be, you take no too quickly, right? And when you're working with a buyer, let's say you're doing an open house and you're working with a buyer and they're coming through and they keep finding ways that the house doesn't work for them. That is your opportunity to say, tell me, if there was a perfect home for you, tell me what it would look like. What would it feel like? It's you finding that property for them. It's you listening and building those relationships so that you can get into their lifestyle. If at 21, with maybe 30 grand to my name, which sounds like a lot, but that's not a lot when you don't know when your paycheck's coming. If I can make it, anybody can. I mean, you just have to be the problem solver, number one.
I love it. That's great stuff on that, Stephanie. So let's give people here some actionable items that they could launch today. Let's say you're a builder and a developer. Let's say somebody on here loves the idea of how you got started when you were 21. If they were going to make a list of builders and developers they wanted to work with, how would they approach? What would you be looking for in an agent that maybe cold calls you or something like that to try to get in front of you to try to develop a business relationship? What are you looking from that agent? What's a great way for them to open a conversation with you? And what would you be looking for them to do for you to even consider possibly doing business with them? You're on the builder developer side now.
Well, okay. So number one, if I'm looking for that agent, right, it's going to be an agent who does not flinch, right? And what I mean by that, if you're going to stumble with me, you're going to stumble with a client, and I'm going to believe that you can't get the job done. right? You need to be cool. You need to be calm. You need to stand your ground, because we're always looking for someone that's going to negotiate in the best interest of who we are. And if you back down to me, you're going to back down to that buyer.
I love that. So what's a good opening line for them to get in front of you? You're super busy. I mean, they get approached by agents all the time. What's an opening line that they can use, or script, if you will, if we want to go with that, that they could use to try to get some time with you? 5-10 minutes of your time.
Well, when you're trying to land anybody, whether it's a builder, developer, or just a client, first off, you got to give them a compliment. In order to give them a compliment, you've got to know something about them, right? But you never ask without giving somebody a compliment. And so for that builder, if you're truly reaching out to this builder because you've noticed that he's got, 5 or 6 houses in this one neighborhood, and you'd love to represent him or her, tour the houses, go check out the quality. Pick up upon what they're doing very well and tell them that, compliment them. If you walk in there and you can't find anything great to say, then it's probably somebody you shouldn't represent, because you got to like what you're selling is at the same time. Okay. So, but that's the biggest thing. I get calls all the time from other real estate agents that say, "Hey, Stephanie, I want to come and put your listing on Facebook or social media or whatever." And I'm like, well, tell me about what do you know about it? Well, I saw it's 2,250,000. Well, tell me what else you know about it. You don't want to just throw stuff out there that you know nothing about. And when you show that side of yourself, it's going to be very hard for a seller to trust you, because you're not doing your research. Does that make sense?
It's a common theme between what Elizabeth Riley said, how she got started, went out and she met the people and told the story, right? See the people,
Right.
Tell the story. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Get up out of your office and go see the product and walk the product and press the flesh, if you will, shake their hand and get a chance to meet them face to face. I love that. So we've got Stephanie Gilezan here for a couple more minutes. Anybody have any questions you'd like to throw at Stephanie? We're talking about breaking into the luxury division. Look, here's what I know. A couple luxury deals, no matter what price point you work in, but adding 1 or 2 even a year can make a huge difference in your income level and where you're at. But if you have a question, you can unmute if you want to throw it out there. If not, we'll just keep rolling along here, and we're going to be wrapping up here in just a couple minutes. See if anybody got a question.
And I think, Jim, while you're looking for that, one of the
Yeah.
things, going back to the story I just told about the other agent that messed up the deal last week, I wouldn't even reach out and ask my clients for their building plans. If I'm doing a resale luxury listing, I wouldn't even call the seller and say, "Hey, do you by chance have this?" I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't bother them, because they're paying me to get this deal done. Therefore, I already know where I need to go to get those, and I would just obtain them. And then, so they understood what I did, I would call them and I'd say, "Hey, Cindy, Stephanie, I just wanted you to know that this potential buyer has asked for the construction plans, the architectural plans on your house. I've already made the trip to City of Anchorage. I've picked up a copy. I'm going to have some copies made. Would you like a set, or do you already have those?" Right? Go above and beyond by offering them something, just so that they're aware that you did it. Does that make sense?
That's absolutely huge on that, right? The initiative that you took right there would be impressive to me right out of the gate with something like that. So we're winding down here and getting ready to wrap up. Anybody have any questions before we go? And then we're going to be getting out of here next week. Big John, while people are thinking about a question they're going to have, what is our topic next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about the cost of waiting. We have Alex Montagano, and I believe you've got, you're going to line up Mike.
Great. Yep. And we're going to have a lender on here. So what John means when he talks about the cost of waiting is, how many people out there right now are hearing their clients say, "Well, I'm going to wait until the rates come down before I do something," right? Everybody should have their hand up. If not, you're not working hard enough. If you don't have some people out there saying it, well, we're going to have some great objection killers for you on how to put different snippets on your social media for people that are out there waiting, and also clients that you're dealing with belly to belly right now that might be saying they might want to wait. We're going to have some financial snapshots that are on there. We're going to be able to show people how waiting is literally going to cost them tens of thousands of dollars by waiting on the rates to come down, right? It's not a good move. and we're going to show you how to do that. So let's see, we're going to wrap up. Stephanie, anything you want to add before we had some people on mute? Jacob Belt out of Boston. Jacob, did you have a question for Stephanie?
Well, as you were talking, if you're talking, Stephanie, the building permits, do you, was that part of the lead generation, going to see what's being worked on in a particular town or area?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
watching what permits are being pulled for any new construction is obviously a way to do it. But here's something else that I'll do. Elizabeth didn't mention this, but I think it's absolute key. In your market, and everybody's got one, a business first, and they're always publishing the book of lists. Like, for example, every week I can look in my subscription and I can see who are the highest paid CEOs, or who's moving to town, what company is bringing this executive into town, who's acquiring what, da-da-da. You can buy those lists. And when you get those lists, you're getting the people's information, you're getting their email addresses, you're getting their phone numbers, you're getting all of this. And, we put those into our CRM to keep track of that. Like, for example, all the members of the Medical Journal Society. Okay. My development, one of them, there's about 4 of us that are not doctors. The rest of the community is doctors. Why do you think that is? Well, because I marketed right to the doctors themselves and told them about something amazing that's coming to town and what was going to be built and so forth, right? But it's that can become very easy for you to send out quick emails, just listed, or, this new development, or whatever the case might be. But paying attention to the news is a lot of how I learn what's going on, and then keeping track and hunting down those people.
That was a great question, Jacob, and great stuff on that, Stephanie. Business First magazine's great. Look for the businesses. And I think if everybody on here notices something, the common denominator between Elizabeth and Stephanie is they went and created the business. They didn't just wait for the business. Oh, I'm waiting for a luxury listing to land in my lap. They went and made it happen. You have to go to the people, talk to them, and get yourself out there. And I think, you heard Elizabeth say she's very much an introvert, and it was, but it paid off what she did with that. So I want to thank everybody for jumping on. In the chat box, we have our YouTube channel. It's whygrowglobal.com will take you there. And it'll get you into our YouTube. Oh, wait, whygrowglobal.com #luxury. Anyways, you can download the chat by going down and you hit the 3 dots, and it'll say the ability for you to save the chat. You can save the chat, and it'll have everybody's contact information in there to put that. I want to appreciate and thank everybody for on here. Stephanie Gilezan, Elizabeth Riley, a round of applause for them for giving away all the secrets. Well done on that. Next week, we have a great topic that is very time relevant for you right now in dealing with your buyers and sellers who are waiting, right? They're waiting for the rates to come down. It's going to cost them a fortune to do it, and we're going to prove it to you so that you can pass that along. It's going to have great social media content for you to put out there in your social media, and also to your mass emailing, your mass texting you're doing, and also people you're dealing with face-to-face. Hey, we'd love for you to bring a friend next week. Next week, Monday, noon, same time, realtormastermind.live. Bring some more people on. The more we have, the more we can all learn from each other. It is a great thing to contribute and give back to the real estate community. Hey, if you're somebody out there who's like, you know what, I've got a special thing that I do, a special niche that you have that you work in, and you'd love to share it with people on here, get with whoever invited you on here. We can have you as a featured panelist where you can speak about something that you have. And we'd love to hear from you. We've had all kinds of amazing stuff on there. Our YouTube channel, by the way, is a library of all of these, a wealth of information, so you can jump on there and check that out. We will see everybody next Monday at noon. Don't be late. You'll miss out on some of the great stuff when we get going, because we get going right away, right on time when we go. Again, Stephanie, thank you. And Elizabeth, I know she was heading out to catch a plane. She had to bolt. So great job by Elizabeth Riley. And we will see all of you very soon. See you next Monday. Bring a friend. We'll have a great time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.